Hey, what's up, everyone? It is Monday, Motivation Monday. I hope you guys all had a great weekend and ready to face this new week. We are in September, so we're getting closer and closer to the end of the year. I hope all you guys have reached your goals. If you haven't, you still have a couple months to do it. But today, I have a very special guest, someone I met not that long ago that is really, really an awesome person. And I've seen a little bit of her story, of her backstory, and I think it would be great for all of us to learn more about her. She's a very successful attorney here in the Antelope Valley, in Palmdale, Lancaster. And honestly, she's an awesome person, a great motivational speaker. I don't know if she calls herself that, but I've seen her speak, so it is very motivational when she does speak. But let me introduce you so you can hear for yourselves. Her name's Darlene Trevino of Trevino Law Firm. Hey,
Hi, Joe.
how are you?
I'm great. It's funny that you introduced me as a motivational speaker. That's definitely not what I am. I like to encourage people, though. That's for sure.
I know you're not, but I've seen you speak, and you do motivate people. You encourage people. You motivate people, and sometimes people don't realize that what they're doing. And I think you're one of those persons that does it because you like talking to people, and you don't realize that you're actually motivating people. So that's why I threw that in there.
Yeah, I generally do like to encourage people, and I like to see the beauty in them and their potential. So when I'm talking to someone, it's because it's the potential that I see in them, and I want to be sure to try to bring it out in them.
Exactly. And I want to say hello to our friend Yanette. She was on last week. She was awesome.
Hi. Oh, Janet is incredible. She's one of my dearest friends. We've been friends for about 4 years now. She's just a life changing experience for me. So I'm really thankful to have her in my life.
And that's another person that we got to know a little bit about her last week, and she has such an awesome story. And you guys haven't seen it, go on our YouTube channel. I'll share the link a little bit later. You gotta see her conversation with her. It's pretty great. But today, one thing like I met Darlene. I would say through a professional relationship,
Hmm.
and I follow her, and I like her posts. And one of the things I've always told everybody you have to have mentors. You gotta feed your mind. You gotta do everything. And she started posting like she reads at night. I think I sent you a message. What book do you read? Because that's really people stop doing that, and they're not feeding their minds. And all the posts I see about you, then really got me more interested in to get to know you a little bit better, and how people should know you a little bit better because you are a strong figure here in our community. And
Thank you.
my biggest question is like, where did you grow up and how was it growing up for you?
I grew up in Pacoima, California. So it's like, what, an hour north of here, I think. And I had a really traumatic childhood. I was born into a single mom, and my father was incarcerated. And my mom actually, probably by the age of 10, she got really heavily involved into drugs and lost custody of us. So I was raised with my grandmother growing up. So it was really not the average. I think you see it more now, people growing up with family members. But back then, I felt like it wasn't the norm to grow up outside of your mom and dad, parental home.
Wow. What part of Pacoima did you grow up?
I grew up on Laura Canyon in Paxton, like
Okay.
the hood.
Yeah, right there by Richie Valens Park.
Yeah,
Um,
exactly.
my grandma, I used to, we grew up part time in Pacoima. Also, we grew up in Van Nuys Boulevard and Telfer. So not that far.
Okay, not at all.
Yeah. So yeah, you know, uh, my parents, we lived in Van Nuys, and Pacoima is where my grandmother lived. So we went from Pacoima to Van Nuys. It was like the Jeffersons moving on
Moving
up.
on up, exactly.
And but
Yeah, I lived in Pacoima my whole life, and it wasn't until and I stayed in that area, right? Middle school was Telfair and Pacoima Middle School and San Fernando High School, and I kind of bounced around because I was troubled teen, a couple of high schools. But when I decided to finally get my act together and I moved out, I moved to Granada Hills, and it was like, what is this cool city, right? Like, it was like this mind blowing experience, and it was this little, little city across from Pacoima.
That 118 does wonders, right?
Exactly.
No, but that's totally cool because even like I told you, we spent time in Pacoima with my grandmother, and I initially started doing events in Pacoima, in the real hood, David Gonzalez Park, right in the and
Oh yeah,
we're doing our events there, and I tell you the stories, you would laugh. But so from Pacoima, you went to Granada Hills, and were you still like in your high school age, or was this after high school?
It was after high school. So I graduated from San Fernando. So I'm a Tiger. And it was somewhere in between 11th grade that I decided to actually start getting my act together, going to school, paying attention in class, doing all the things that you should be doing. But I went to junior college. So I went to COC, and I lived kind of just down in that area, in the San Fernando Valley still, but try to move out of Pacoima. So I lived in Granada Hills, and I went to Woodland Hills and Encino, kind of bounced around different areas, but all stayed in the San Fernando Valley until I finished junior college.
So when you were going to junior college, did you have your mindset in being a lawyer?
I did. I
Right.
had no idea what that looked like, but I went to junior college, and I didn't even take my SATs because I didn't know what that was. Like, I didn't know what college was, but I missed my SAT deadline. I found out about that afterwards. I went to junior college, but I just told the counselor, like, I want to be a lawyer. Like, I don't know how that is going to work out, what you need to do, but just get me in this track of being a lawyer.
Now, when like you said, you were a troubled teen, but I think we all were. We were in that age where we all prefer to have fun in high school.
Yeah,
But
and you're learning yourself.
exactly. And what made you what snapped in you? What made you say like enough's enough? I have to do something.
It was a combination of a lot of things, but I remember specifically one day I was just fed up with life and fed up with just living where we lived. I wanted more, and I was just like angry. My aunt came over and she's like, "What's wrong with you?" I'm like, "I'm just tired, like, of this life, of the way we live." Like, I lived with my grandmother. She was single, and we lived kind of, like day by day, and struggled. And so she was like, "Well, what are you doing about it? Like, you're not doing anything to change this life." And it hit me. It hit me like a ton of bricks. Like, I really wasn't, right. Like, I was just partying and drinking and going out. So all I was really doing was going to go down the same path that my parents were going down. And that's all they knew. That's what I was being, led down as well. And when she said that, like, what am I doing about it? I realized at that point I was old enough to actually make a difference and do something for my life.
Wow. And and at this point you were what, about 17, 18?
17, 17. Mm-hmm.
Wow. So at 17, you actually woke up one morning and say, I'm tired of this. I really need to do something. I do not want to be living day by day, paycheck to paycheck. I want something different. And unfortunately, that's the life a lot of us saw, even with our parents, because our parents would have regular jobs or whatever, and they could only afford live check by check. And that's one of the things that I tell people. You learn to save your money, try to avoid that. And that's cool. At 17, you realize that you don't want that. You wanted something better for you and your family, right?
Yeah, definitely.
So
Mm-hmm.
what was it like for a chick from Pacoima going to college of the Canyons?
I've always been the underdog, even now, right? I'm in this town where we have attorneys that have been here since the 80s, right? Since I was born, they've established themselves. So you have these big giants here, and it was the same thing, going into college. None of my family went to college. They didn't even know how to guide me. They had no idea what it was. So stepping into it, it was just like, I'm just this little poor girl from Pacoima trying to figure it out. So it was, I made a lot of mistakes. I failed classes, had to retake them. I also got a lot of good breaks though. One of them, I had this EOP program, and it was for kids that were, you know, financially like struggling families, or they're in the foster system. And since we grew up with my grandparents or my grandmother, I was considered being in the foster system. So I had this program, and so the counselor was able to guide me through a lot of it. So that definitely gave me an advantage, but it was a culture shock. You know, a lot of these kids, they came from two-parent households, pretty, you know, well off, like well-to-do parents, and lived in Santa Clarita, and they just had a pretty good life. And I'm like, man, like I would just want to be quiet and not share my story, because I was just more embarrassed than anything to tell them like where I came from and what my background was.
Right. And this was probably in the 90s, right? 90s
Yes.
or late.
Early, no, 2000, like early 2000.
Okay. And let me tell you that back in the early 2000s, Canyon Country was mainly a white community. Santa Clarita was
Yeah,
mainly a white community. And now it's a little bit more different. There's more color in there and everything.
definitely more diverse.
But it was a white community in College of the Canyons. I remember, you know, I was like, wow. I thought College of the Canyons was like Master's College, like an all a white college. And so for like you said, a girl from Pacoima going up there, that's a big challenge for you, because that challenge to take that risk of going somewhere where honestly some people would look at you different, and two, it's a whole different world. You like we said, going from Pacoima to Granada Hills was a culture shock for you. Now going from there to like Santa Clarita, that's even a bigger culture shock.
It really was.
It had to be really hard on you mentally, because you decide to become a lawyer and take all these classes that you probably never even heard about, and you're there in a whole different city, a whole different community. What was that like? Were you scared in a way? Tell us a little bit about that.
Yeah, I was terrified. I mean, I went to College of the Canyons, and then for undergrad, I went to Cal Poly San Luis Obispo, which, if you think back then, like that was a white school, like San Luis Obispo, it was about 98% white and successful white on top of that. So, I mean, talk about being like that needle in the haze. Like I stood out, well, not even needle, like I just stood out like a sore thumb. But I was nervous. I was embarrassed, to be honest. A lot of my life, I was very embarrassed and ashamed of where I came from, to say like, my dad's in prison. You know, my mom is was probably in rehab at one time, in prison, like in and out. So I never wanted to share who I was with people. I just, I would be there and I would joke around with people, and, make not close friendships, just enough like that I got to know them, but never close enough so that they would know my true story. I was just very, very it was a mental battle for sure, trying to weed through the school process, but then trying to weed through the actual like personal process of becoming somebody that you're far from.
Wow, it had to be. And moving a little bit forward, like, what was it like, getting that diploma, taking your bar exam,
Oh,
what.
that was incredible. Like I mean, every step of the way, I feel like every step of the way had always had its challenges, and I always just stepped into something new. But even though, as much as it scared me mentally, I still showed up. And that's one thing that I always encourage people to this day, is like showing up is half the battle. Like as much as you're not ready, you're not capable, you don't fit in, those finances are not right, your skin color is not right, your background's not right. There's things that won't fit in, but showing up is half the battle. And so that's what I did for junior, or for undergrad, for junior college first. I had my AA, and it was the biggest. I mean, my family was like in awe, and my tios and my tias were just like, she did it. Like she actually did this. And it was more of a, I was too stubborn, like not like to give up. Like I just had to keep going, regardless of those, like I said, those fails that I had to retake certain classes. It was a big, every step of the way was like, it got more rewarding as I took those bigger steps in life.
I could imagine. And so after you passed your bar exam and you graduated and everything, what was your first job as a lawyer? Like, what was next after finishing school, getting
Um,
where were you at personally at that point in time?
So when I passed the bar, so it took me two times. I think I mentioned this in one of my Instagram stories. So if you guys don't follow me, be sure to follow me because I'm not so embarrassed to give backstory of my life. I've learned to break out of that shell and be a little more transparent. But so my Instagram is trevino.law, but I it took me two times to pass the bar. So the second time that I actually, that I'm two times, like the first time to try it, the second time to pass it. And it was such a shock, I mean, it was everything you could imagine, like my heart pumping, my family's excited, my husband's excited because my husband. I was already married and we had actually both of my children while I was in law school. So I was pregnant going to law school. When I started studying for the bar, I took 3 months off, and my husband really was working and being like the full-time dad as well. So he was really relieved when I passed the bar. It was a good relief for him to have his wife back, right, and have the mom back because I was like on study mode for 3 months.
Wow. But so at that point in time, were you already living here in the Antelope Valley?
I was. I moved out here the first year of law school. I was living in Woodland Hills at that point. I worked for an attorney's office, a pretty busy law firm, and I I had a full-time job. I was busy. The work was busy, and I couldn't manage going to work, going to law school, reading about 40 pages a day, and then still paying my bills, the rent, and everything. So I actually, for the first time, um, since I was 11, I hadn't lived with my mom since I think we were taken on when I was 10 years old. So at the age of, well, I don't even know what I was in law school, but early 20s, maybe 27, I moved into the Antelope Valley. I moved in with my mom. And I started commuting back and forth, going to law school. And that's out here is where I met my husband.
Wow. So
hmm
from out here in the Antelope Valley, what law school were you going to?
I commuted down to Chatsworth and I went to University of Los Angeles. So they had a satellite campus in Chatsworth. The main campus was LA, and I would commute down below 3 times a week and go to law school, come home, study on the train. I would take the train down there. I I had a lease. I leased the car, so it was killing my miles. It was such a far drive. So I started leaving my car down below and just taking the metro back and forth, and just taking advantage of using it as a study time while I was just sitting in the train.
And at that point, did you also work while you were going to school?
In law school, luckily I didn't. In undergrad, I did for a while, but law school, the beginning of it, I did, but it just became so heavy that I couldn't. I had saved money while I was in law school. I've been a really good saver, so I started saving money as I had this really good job in a law firm, so I would put money away, and it was just me, and I was able to save enough money to live with my mom, not have to pay her rent, and then just pay, life bills and other things to get me by.
Wow. But that's still impressive, man, because riding that train and everyone that's lived in the Antelope Valley has to ride in the train. There's no one here that has not used the Metrolink.
Yeah,
To ride that train and study at the same time, and then it's not easy. It's not easy going from here to there. But you were dedicated. You were committed, and that speaks highly of you. You push forward, and that's good. And what do you recommend
thank you.
people, like people that are seeing this right now, that want to study, that want to do that? Because one thing you said that was really, really important. Yeah, there's so many grants and there's so many programs out there that we don't know about. So, like, what do you recommend somebody that wants to, like yourself, 17-year-old wants to better themselves? What do you recommend them? What would you tell that person?
A couple of things. First, I would say definitely set a goal. Like make sure you have like my goal was to be a lawyer. On top of that though, I had smaller goals. Like what was it to be a lawyer, right? I had to figure that out. So I was like, okay, first go to junior college, get my associates, then go to get my bachelor's degree, then go to law school and get my law degree, then pass the bar. Like I knew these were the 4 steps that I had to take. And it was a long road. Going into junior college, it was I knew that it was going to take me about 8 years to finish it. So I just had it in mind that time wasn't an issue. This was the goal that I wanted. I set those smaller goals to take the step. So definitely number one, plan it out. Plan out what you want. Give yourself a goal, an incredible goal too. I mean, as I said, I'm a girl from Pacoima, didn't have parents that guided me. Um, I wasn't I wasn't raised with a silver spoon in my mouth, but I knew that I had this huge goal, and then I broke it down into smaller pieces in order to get to that because it's really about, like I mentioned before, showing up. So if you show up every single day and you show up no matter how big or small those steps are, you're going to eventually get to that goal line, right? If
Right.
you're walking, you're going to eventually get there. So definitely set that goal and don't get so overwhelmed with the big picture. Know that you have to take the process of it. Have those goals. I look at myself, I'm like, you know, I'm I'm an ordinary person with extraordinary dreams. And
Exactly.
that's what I'd say. Like there's no, and I get this a lot. People tell me like, oh, if you can do it, I can do it. I'm like the poster child for that. And I'm like, I don't know if it's a compliment or not, because I don't know what they mean by that. But and it is though, like, because there's I'm not like this, Harvard graduate. I'm not like this overnight success. I didn't come from this family, but if I can do it, people can do it as long as that mindset's there. Like have that goal and then show up. I've walked the path with so many people that had goals. I hear so many people want to be lawyers. I'm like, hey, like this is what you got to do. Now I'll show them the steps, but they have to take them. And a lot of people just won't actually like. They just get overwhelmed. They give up. They just, it's like okay, it's just taking too long. 2 years in, they're done. I mean, it took me 8 years to get to where I'm at.
Wow. But the one thing I always tell everyone also is find motivation. Like listen to people's story. There's one person that I like to listen to. His name is Eric Thomas, and he says something very important. He says, you know, that degree, my college degree, does not have a date on it. So if it took someone 2 years, doesn't matter if it took me 8 years. The date, there's no date on it, so you can't say, "Hey, it took you long." No one knows. As long
Hmm.
as long as you have to take you, but your degree won't have a date on it, and that's so true. A lot of people, wow, oh, this guy did it in 2 years. What's wrong with me? I ain't gonna do it because I can't do it in 2 years. No, everyone's different. Stay on course, and even if it takes you 20 years, you have your degree, and not that date does not matter. That's a really key point. I always tell everyone, look him up on YouTube, Eric Thomas. He's really, really good. And he's
I need
like
to look
us.
him up.
He's like us. Because people tell me, dude, Joe, you do events, you do this. I go, dude, I'm just a poor boy from Van Nuys. If I can do it, all you have to do is you remember that movie when we were growing up about the teacher in East LA, Stand and Deliver.
Yeah, yeah, there you go. Uh-huh.
The biggest part of that movie that always stick with me was when he said ganas. You have to have ganas. If you have that, if you have the will, you will find the way.
Hmm.
And and everyone I speak to, everyone that has done it, like yourself, you found the will to do it. You found your reason to do it, and you did it. And like you said, you didn't pass the first time, but when you're in court, they don't ask you. So how many times did you take the bar exam? All,
Exactly. Hmm.
and that's why like stuff like that. I appreciate you sharing with that because you don't have to share that with us, but that goes to show like, dude, no one does it the first time. No one it does, it doesn't matter if you don't do it the first time. What matters is that you continue to work at it and you get there. And
Hmm.
I think that's really
Another thing, sorry to cut you off. Another thing I was thinking also is don't be afraid to fail or don't be afraid to ask for help. regardless of what it is, even to this day, there's, I'm like, sometimes I come and I'm stumbling across something and I'm not quite sure how to file a motion. And before I would not ever want to ask them, like, oh, they're going to find out that I don't really know what I'm doing, or I would be scared, right, of this imposter syndrome. And so just the other day, I had to file a motion and I wasn't sure exactly how to do it. So we have this attorney database, and I reached out to an attorney that he's on there constantly giving advice. I said, will can you help me here? So he called me, we had a conversation. He really guided me through it. And maybe I've been an attorney. I've been practicing for 2.5 years now, and probably the first year I would have never asked him because I would have been too embarrassed. Like, oh, obviously he's gonna think I'm a rookie. I don't really know what I'm doing. And at this point, I'm like, I need help. I need to make sure that I'm filing this motion correctly for my clients. So don't be scared to ask for help. Don't be scared to say you don't know what you're doing and you need help finding that way to get it done correctly. And even if you don't get it done correctly, then do it again, right? Like, if that's part of the learning process, is you're gonna fail.
Exactly. But here's my next question for you. So after you became a lawyer, you're done. You passed your bar. You have that degree. Did you go out and work for a firm, or did you start on your own?
No, I worked for a firm for the first. I'm sorry, I've had my own business for 2 years. I've been practicing for 5 now. But I worked for a firm for the first 3 years.
Okay.
I joined a firm, and then within probably after the first year, I was still living in Antelope Valley. I had never left since I came out here for law school, but I brought the firm. I opened a second firm for him out in the Antelope Valley, and just started working under his name and really branching out and creating something for him out here.
And what made you decide to go on your own?
Again, a girl with big dreams. I felt like I owed it to myself to make a difference, to have something for my kids, for them to inherit if they want to become lawyers, right? Like, look at mommy, you guys can be lawyers and step into this law firm. So I wanted to be sure to leave that legacy for them.
So you've been on your own for 2 years now, right?
2.5 years.
And how hard or how easy has it been these last 2 years?
It's been horrible. I'm like, not horrible, but it's been bad. Fear stepping out just to open my own law firm, because I was working for a firm, so I had a consistent income coming in. I had a paycheck, and then I decided, hey, we're putting this all on my own firm. As a personal injury attorney, you don't get paid right away. You don't get paid till your client's case settles. So it could be 9-10 months, a year till the case settles. So that was frightening to know that I had a consistent paycheck to saying, hey, I don't even know how we're going to get by sometimes. Who knows when that case is going to settle? So that mentally was a battle. And then learning how to run your own business. I don't, my family, I have an uncle that runs his own business, but for the most part, we're not entrepreneurs. So being a lawyer is one thing, but then actually having a business to run and to know how to manage the funds and the accounting and all of that was a whole other beast on its own. But I'm here 2.5 years later, and I'm surviving.
And one thing that I also want to let people know is that you have a staff. You have people that work for you. So
I do.
So you have those 8 months that the money's not coming in, but your staff's still getting paid.
I mean, I have a staff of 6. So I have 6 employees. In December, I bought a building. So we'll be moving into our own building soon. I mean, it's definitely, it's God's grace that's been on this, but it's just that mindset to do better, be better. And sometimes, I'm like, I don't know how we're going to get that money for the 9 months, but then something comes in, right? I've been taking on some case or whatnot, and it's happened. But we're growing so big that I have a staff of 6 right now, and I won't be surprised by the end of next year. I'll probably have like 8 to 10.
Wow.
Mm-hmm.
So let me rewind this real quick, so everyone's keeping note, right? My friend Darlene is just another poor girl from Pacoima. She grew up in the valley, Pacoima. Woke up one day and said, "Want to better her life." Went put the work in, went to school and everything. And fast forwarding now, she just bought her own building. She's converting, and like I tell you, off record, I seen this building. I've seen one thing to buy the building, but she did not just buy it. She redid the whole building also. So it's like, come on, you're talking about someone that grew up in a messed up childhood. Honestly, when your parents are separated and you're separated from your parents, it's hard. It's really hard. And growing up in the hood, it's not that's not easy either. But coming from there and building something, building a career, building a livelihood for her and her family, and then taking the risk of going out on her own, and 2 years later buying her own building. Come on, this woman's amazing.
Thank you.
And that's why I tell people, like I told you in the beginning, she's a motivational speaker, because everything she says is motivation. Like she said, if she could do it, you could do it. And all you really gotta do is have the ganas, have the will to do it, have the work in. We have Marcos. I don't know if you've met Marcos Alvarez. But first, I want to say what's up to our friend Esther, who makes the best tacos.
Ooh.
Marcos Alvarez. That is awesome. Would love to meet her. Oh, you have. Okay, I'll charge you $20, Marcos. Yeah, amazing. It is amazing. And she's much accolades to you, sister. And
Thank you.
And honestly, for me, it's really cool, because I'm gonna tell you the same thing. You probably grew up with this, Darlene. Being born here, but from Latino parents, you're not considered a straight Latino. You're not considered a straight American. So we have our own fight. We have our own fight, because when you speak Spanish, hey, you don't speak it right, and you speak English, you don't speak. You're stuck in that middle. But like for us, like I tell you, we're Chicano. We're setting a standard for Chicanos out there. Especially now where you have Chicanos, not only Chicanos, but pretty much this generation is being more laid back, you could say. But we have we have community leaders like yourself out here, in the Antelope Valley. The Antelope Valley that pretty much everyone wants to dump all the trash into us. We're making a community that's really strong out here. Latinos. We're making a community that of smart people that didn't have a chance. Because honestly, Darlene, when we're growing up, and the way we were brought up, we didn't really have a chance. If we didn't want to work for it, there was no chance for us. We're what is it? Statistics. That's what we are. And when I meet someone like yourself that turned that around and proved them wrong, that's awesome. And pretty much here in the Antelope Valley, we need more community leaders like yourself, like Janet, like Marcos. I think he's running for something.
Interesting. I'd love to talk to him then.
But we need more community leaders like that, that actually grew up and actually knows what our community needs.
Absolutely. And that's why, you'll see me, I'm at so many events and people ask me, like, how do you do this? I just do it, right? One day at a time, one foot in front of another. But I'm a part of the Hispanic Chamber. I'm a board member for the Hispanic Chamber. I'm a part of the Antelope Valley Chamber. I volunteer, and I sponsor a lot of events for Vets for Veterans, Beauty for Ashes, the Vine Refuge, and they help at youth or foster children. But I'm out here, and I even reached out to Palm Dome School District. I said, what can I do? And people are like, this girl's hungry. I'm like, I'm hungry to make a difference. Like, I'm not here just to make money and build for me. Yes, that's a nice goal to have, but I want to make sure that people see me, that they see my skin color. I'm as brown as can be, and I made it. I didn't come from this mom and dad that spoon fed me. And there's some people that's okay too. It's okay if you have that mom and dad that spoon fed you. That's what I'm striving for my kids. But I'm out here and I'm in the community and I show my face and I'm talking to people. and I insert myself in even places that are uncomfortable, but it's because I want people to see a woman, someone of color, someone of a diverse background, and to be able to make that difference for, not just for me, but for our community, for the people that are looking to say, hey, that girl's there, that brown, Hispanic Chicana, whatever you want to call it, she's there in this situation, maybe I can be there, maybe I can have a seat at that table. So it's really big to be a part of the community, show up for the community, because we have this dumping ground that people want to, bring all their stuff and trash it here. And, we'll get into politics later, but even then, like we've heard some, one of the persons running for mayor, that's the goal, is to dump homeless out here. It's ridiculous, but that's what we're here for, is to make a change, to make an impact, to bring more leaders. We can't carry this all on our own shoulders. Like, we need to bring more people from our community, more people that understand what it is to not have life so easy, to be able to help others, that, help them, bring a hand up in life.
Well, yeah, it's really true. And, you're doing your part, because honestly, being part of the board of the chamber, the Hispanic chamber, is really good, because there's a lot of Hispanic businesses out in the Antelope Valley that don't even know that the chamber exists. I've talked to a lot of them, and they don't even know that chamber exists. And, for them to see you and be like, oh, that's cool, because there's another Latina in there. Let me talk to her, and it makes it more comfortable for you for them to talk to you, and that's really, really important. And like you said, we do need more Latinos in our community, because the Antelope Valley is more. It used to be more of a white community, but now it's more of a Latino community. And
I think our population is like 50% or 51% Hispanic.
Exactly. So we need our community to step up. We have Yadira saying hi, Darlene.
That's my pastor.
Oh,
hi, Pastor Yadi.
And one thing she forgot to mention, on top of being the board of the Hispanic chamber and the other chamber, she's also a ring announcer for Lucha Libre.
Yes. Talk about being out of your comfort zone. I mean, I'm telling you, I laugh because I'm like, how do I get myself in these situations? And, half the time I really don't know what I'm doing, but I know that I want to do it, and I know that it's exciting, and I want to be a part of our community. So if it's something that's, for fun or for like a good, let's do it.
I'm always up for a challenge, and we do our events, and my female champ, she's like, hey Joe, you don't show us love. I go, what do you mean? She's like, we want our own event. We want an all women's event. And it's a little risky, because you don't know if it would, it's a whole different thing. And I'm like, all right, I'm down. And I started thinking, I go, you know what? I really want to push it. And if you're in the Antelope Valley and you've never seen our friend Darlene's picture on the billboards, you're driving with shutters on. So I was like, I'm going to hit her up. And this is one thing what she mentioned. There's a lot of lawyers out here. And there's a lot of great lawyers, and there's a lot of really good lawyers, but not all of them are accessible. I sent her a message.
Accessible.
Accessible. You see, I'm telling you, my English is Spanish. And I sent her a message, and she replied. She's like, dude, I'm in. I don't think she really knew what she was getting herself into, but she liked the idea. And when she showed up, it was a great show. We sold out, and a lot of people were there, and a lot of people really, really started following you. The second show, when we had you out there, she gets embarrassed because I make her go in the ring, and I have her go in there, but the people really started to see you more. And that's really important, because I want the community to know that if they were having a problem, there's people they could call. There's people they could call and speak their language.
Exactly.
He says, I'm running for Palmdale City Council 3.
Oh, District 3. Okay.
We are over 73% Latino and growing. What's your position on the vendors that sell tacos? It's a growing topic.
Oh, it's kind of it's loaded. It's a loaded question.
Yeah.
If they're, personally, I'm not going to stop someone from working. If they're willing to work, I don't see, that's the first and foremost. I guess I'm sure it's, very multifaceted, but for the most part, you see people that are willing to work, and I wouldn't stop that. I wouldn't stop somebody from wanting to create a living.
Exactly. And the only thing that that I see kind of wrong, and I talk to them because I have a lot of friends that sell that do the pop-ups, right?
Hmm.
And the only thing I always tell them, be courteous and don't set yourself up in front of a restaurant. you know,
That's
you,
true. Where, yeah, the brick and mortar, right? People are having to pay liability insurers, workers' comp insurance, and all of these other things that we have to pay as business owners that have a brick and mortar. So
exactly.
definitely.
And
Hmm.
that's the only thing I tell everyone. Don't be courteous on that end. There's so many spots that you can set yourself up in, and pretty much all the people I know, that's what they do. They're far away from everyone, and people will go to you if your tacos are good. you know,
Exactly. Hmm.
but the city, that's a whole different ballgame, and really, I don't really care about it because right now what matters is we have a powerful Latina here, and she's giving us wisdom. And Marco says La Cultura. Yes, La Cultura will be playing live this Friday at Transplants under Medina Entertainment. That's the band I'm bringing in, La Cultura.
Okay.
I think he's talking about its culture. It is culture to for the tacos to be set up in the street. Like
Yeah,
in
I
Mexico,
mean, I would go exactly. I would go to Mexico, and we'd go visit, family back there. We're from Michoacan, and that's what you saw. You saw vendors selling tortas and tacos, and that's the culture of our
and they're so
people.
good. They're so good. My
So
friend
good.
Esther, she does sales, and she does catering, and they're really good. My friend Tacos El Mora, they had issues with the city, but they ended up moving away where they're away with not having that many issues, but the food's just so good, And the problem is, a lot of the people don't realize this. A lot of people, well, why don't they just rent a spot? It's not that easy to rent a place. It's not that easy to
Mm,
to start up. You know, I could assure you this: everyone out there, they wish they could do it, and they work hard, but sometimes they have to pay their own rent. They have so much bills going on. It's not that easy of a process as many people think. Just
mhm.
most brick and mortars do not set up after 9 o'clock or stay open after 9 o'clock. But yes, it's a loaded question and a great subject to talk about.
Yeah, I would love to, Marcos, get your feedback on it as well, and get just your insight on how,
I want to invite Marcos on. Probably, let me know you're on next week, Marcos, and we'll talk about it. The city takes our food away and give them a citation of $500 plus each and every time.
Wow.
And
Wow.
it's
I didn't realize that's a steep citation. Wow.
it's a really deep citation, but it's like I said, it's it's hard to push one end when you see the other end. And like
Hmm.
I just tell people, if you're outside, I don't mind. It's the best way to do it.
True.
But so we lost track. I lost track right here. But she came back. You bought this building. Tell us a little bit more about your new building. Where's it located? Because I saw the before pictures and I saw your updated one, and wow, it looks like a whole different building. Tell us a
Yeah,
little bit.
it's beautiful. It's on Palmdale Boulevard in between 9th and 10th East. So definitely a rough area, right? There's a lot of homeless that are in there, walk on that street, but the building was old and just unattended, and we've been working on just putting new everything, paint, and our logo just went on. So if you guys drive by Palmdale Boulevard, you'll see it. I've been getting text messages. My children, my son, he's 13, he's getting messages, people passing by and seeing this building because it stands out now. It's so beautiful with the logo, and it's lit up at night. And I've had
Wow.
people come inside the building, and they're like, wow, you wouldn't think that this is on Palmdale Boulevard because it looks so nice. But it's my taste. It's what I want to have. It just I right now I work right across the street from there. And the thing is, when we moved in, I'm on the second story right now where I'm at. When we moved in, I saw that building and I told one of my staff, I said, that's a nice size building. I want that building. She's like, we just opened. Like, what do you mean you want this building? Like, we just found a home. You know, she's laughing because we're renting this smaller 800 square foot space right now. And she's like, Darlene, I'm like, what? I have big dreams. Like, I have big dreams and big goals. But so sure enough, 2 years later, we bought that building and it's 2,000 square feet on Palmdale Boulevard. I'll be having a grand opening once it's ready to go up and running. So I'm not sure when that is. I'm starting to get a little anxious now, but I'm still letting it just happen.
Just let it happen. Let it play itself. The important thing is that you got it and the wheels in motion. You know, you want it to be perfect. You don't rush perfection.
Mm-hmm. For sure.
But with that grand opening, we will be there, and I already told her that we will take our. We're not gonna buy Marcos. We'll have the whole crew there. All our talent. You know, I was telling Darlene that we bring in wrestlers from all over the world, right? And I had one of our biggest guys come in. I go, hey, this is my sponsor, and she's really, really good. And I want you to wear her t-shirt. And he's like, all right. And he wore it into the ring and everything. I was like, dude, this guy. He's like,
what is that, Hammerstone?
Hammerstone. He's like, no, she's
even after.
Yeah.
After the event, he put it back on and he's just hanging out there, talking to people, and he's wearing my shirt. And I mean, I'm just like in the background, just on cloud nine, like this, just casually, wearing Trevino Law Firm, and he's, worldwide recognized. And it was such an honor. It was such an honor to have that. So thank you, Joe.
No, I told him, I go, hey, his name's Alex. So I go, hey, Alex, you just need to wear. No, dude, I saw her out there with the kids and everything. She's awesome, dude. I'm proud to represent her. I'm like,
oh, that's awesome.
That's what I'm telling everyone. Like when they ask me, why Darlene? I go, cause there's something about her. There's something about her that when you meet her, you see it. And as Janet, as your pastor, when they meet you, they see it. They see there's something special about that person. And and that's the same thing like Hammerstone told me, Vito, Viva, all my champs are like, dude, she's really, really awesome. Even my announcer, Superboy, when we do a show together, she's like, dude, she's really, really cool. There's something about her, like she's not really a wrestling fan, but she is, but like she enjoys being there, and people see that and they appreciate that. I appreciate that. And
it wasn't just there just to be like for show, right? Just like, okay, I'm here to do the show. I'm here to just promote and let me get out of here. Like, we genuinely had such a great time there. I'm telling the second time I started inviting more people, and I was like, you're gonna love it. But it was such a fun time.
Yeah, Dita, that's right. She's no, and like I said, it's true. Like when you see her, same thing with Janet. Janet's a little quiet. I know that she's a little bit more quiet, like when you meet her in person for the first time. And I was like, dude, but there's something about her, like there's something about you. You can see that in people, and I see it in both of you guys. And that's why it was really important to have you guys on, because the community needs to know about you guys, needs to know your stories so they could relate and they could see that it's possible. Anything's possible.
Yeah. Well, I would have to add that we both are women of God. So I truly believe like it's the Holy Spirit in us that they see this light in us, because, I'm a regular person like everyone else. But it's possible to live your life that you want to achieve, like set your goals and make those dreams, right? Even behind me, I don't know if you can see, but right there, like that's a vision board that I have. And I throw goals on there. I throw goals and I wake up and, I could have probably a cute little painting or something, but I put it on there because I want to see my goals. I want to see what I'm working towards. Like, I want to have these huge goals in mind. And so I look at that. I'm like, all right, that's what's next.
Well, my studio here, one day I'm going to invite you to the studio. My studio here is my vision board. I've always wanted to do radio, but radio pays really low money. When you have a family, it's hard. You have to have a job that supports your family. So I had a friend invite me to do her show. She did internet radio, and I saw it. I started doing the show with her, and I was like, you know what? I want my own radio. So I built my own radio station. On the wall, you see all my events. Behind me, you see all the bouts. These are the retired titles of my company. We all have new titles, and 20 some years ago, I couldn't even afford to buy a belt. And you build, you build, and 20 years ago, my events were really small, and now they're
Now look at them where they're sold out, 250 people
you
there. Yeah.
And we sold out the pack also. We've done,
Wow.
and it's like I said, if a poor boy from Van Nuys could do it, you can do it. And Yanette says it's the God in us. Amen.
Yeah.
But Darlene, I don't want to take up more of your time. We said 30 minutes and we're almost in an hour.
Oh, I know. Look at us. All right. Well, thank you so much for having me.
Thank you.
I'm always available, like for people that want to, whatever it is, they need advice. They want my advice could, only be through like going how to go to law school, but I'm available. Like I love being able to encourage people. I love, especially women. I love being able to encourage women and put some kind of passion in them to say, you can do it. Like believe in yourself.
Well,
and I think,
go ahead. No, you go ahead.
Oh, I was going to say one more thing I wanted to leave everybody with is don't ever stop learning, right? Like you're never too smart for whatever field you're in, like whatever it is. And like you were mentioning about me reading, right now I'm into romance novels because I've taken a break from self-help books. I'm reading Nicholas Sparks. He's the author of the Notebook. But I read all the time. I read finance books, and people ask me like, how did you know this? How did you know you could put your kids on payroll? How did you know to start these certain type of retirement plans? I read. We're debt free right now, except for my house. Everything else is paid off. But things like this that I've read and I've learned, and I fill myself with knowledge. So definitely fill yourself with knowledge. Whoever's listening, that's an encouragement to not only set those goals, but teach yourself how to reach them.
Awesome. That is great advice. And like she said, if you ever need anything advice, but also this Friday, you're having a super mixer for the chamber, correct?
Yes, it's going to be at the Chamboli Center. Both chambers are coming together, Antelope Valley and Hispanic Chamber. You do need a ticket to go in. I think you could purchase them at the door. Don't quote me on that. But it's going to be a super mixer. There's going to be a ton of businesses there, and we'll have a booth, of course, there as well.
Awesome. So anyone out here, you have a business, the mixers are the greatest place to learn more about the chambers. So you can go out there and talk to other business owners, and talk to Darlene, and that'll be a good one. But if you want to go have a really good time, I'll see you at transplants. But Darlene, thank you very much. I really appreciate you coming on. I appreciate everything you've done for us as a company, and
I appreciate you.
We really appreciate you, and we wish you the best. And like I told you, whatever we could help you with, or whatever we could do for you, you count on us 100%.
Thank you. I appreciate it. I truly do.
All right, everyone, we got Patsy here. She says,
hi,
tickets must be purchased in advance. No tickets at door. So, Patsy, if you could give us a number or something for anyone that wants to buy tickets, or where could they buy tickets?
Yeah, a link. Maybe put a link in that Facebook chat. That would be great to have.
Yeah, you can put a link, and that way people that are interested, they can buy tickets. And like I said, this is the best way to get your business to grow with other businesses. Is with the chamber. And super mixer.
Yeah, it's collaborating. It's collaborating with other businesses. It's saying, how can you help that business? Because one day they're going to be able to help you, and it's vice versa.
Exactly, and it's fun. It's fun to have a good time with other business owners. Mixers, I've always liked going to the chamber mixers. I just haven't had the time to go to them in a while. But chamber mixers are really fun to go to. So if you're a business owner, hit them up, and I think it's only like $10. So
it's something. Yeah,
it's really small. But I will see you October 29th. We're gonna have
Yes.
we have a big surprise for you and for your. But also, I want to bring this up right now. I'm gonna put you on the line. We are doing an event December 18th. December 18th, we do an annual toy drive. And last year we raised, I think, about 500 toys. So this year we're going to raise more toys. So I want to talk to you a little bit later about see who we donate these toys to.
Oh,
Like you, the women of God out here in the Antelope
oh
Valley.
yeah.
So maybe
Uh-huh.
you know people that would could use these toys for Christmas. So
Definitely. I know the Vine Refuge is someone I mentioned earlier too, and they help, they work with them as well.
there you go. So we'll work on that. AV Hispanic Chamber of Commerce. Visit the website, their Facebook page. They say where to get tickets. All right, awesome. So just look at the AV Hispanic Chamber, and you can get all the information there. And they do have an Instagram also.
They do.
All right. Good night, Darlene. I appreciate you.
Okay.
See you next time.
All right. Thanks, Joe. Have a good night.
You too. Bye.